But first, we look at the German literary scene and the favorites for this year's German Book Prize. 6 authors have made it to the final round.
6 works are shortlisted for the Best German Language Novel of the Year. The bets are open. But first, it's a good idea to get to know the lineup, the themes, the approaches, and the writers themselves. Sing out. Thomas Hetsche, Fraueninsel. Time seems to flow at its own pace in the waters of Berlin's Havel River. For 25 years, this man has been visiting a magic realm, the Fraueninsel, or Peacock Island. His view of it is part historical novel, part fairy tale.
You
don't run into the hard contradictions of society here. You encounter the fantasies. You find people's wishes and longings embodied here. What interested me was how my protagonist, the midget Maria Dorothea Stracon, deals with this artificial world.
In the early 19th century, Peacock Island was a Prussian Elysium, a very artificial one. Marie lives here together with various creatures, exotic like herself. It's like a cabinet of wonders.
The lady of the manor, thought Marie, and wept. Only in this world of lies, but in the real world, a monster.
Marie senses that a new era is dawning, an era of progress.
During her lifetime, Darwin and Mendel made their discoveries. The image of the world changed. It was the rise of imperialism and a rational approach to the unfamiliar.
Aberrations were no longer gawked at, but classified and demystified. Whimsical eccentricity gave way to the norm. What remains? An ode to a past world and its fragile beauty. Angelika Klüssendorf's April. A girl wants to lead her own life, but keeps running into barriers. She's a loner and offends everyone who means her well. She calls a skinny young lady Ribs, and she gives herself the name April.
April is a month that's just as capricious as April the girl. Hail, sun, and rain, it's pure volatility.
Behind her is a troubled childhood in East Germany. Now at 18, she wants to stand on her own 2 feet. But April keeps hitting the skids with alcohol, drugs, and suicide attempts. She pulls through every time.
She meets people who take care of her. And I think it's not unimportant that April was socialized in East Germany in her early years.
If nothing else, socialism did provide some security. But in the 1980s, April feels walled in and applies for an exit visa. She makes it to the West, like Klüssendorf herself did. But the childhood traumas came with her.
Her breath sweeps everything aside, the beauty of the past few days, the security she felt, and the joy. As if her body were a high-pressure gun, from which her breath exhaled with enough force to blow down houses. And people, warmth, love.
Angelika Klüssendorf tells of a difficult emancipation, without frills, without mercy. Gertrud Leutenegger's Panischer Frühling, or Panic Spring. It's the moment after the cataclysm. It's 2010, a volcano has erupted in Iceland, and suddenly, chaos. Normality is torn asunder. The Swiss author has put it into a book.
As soon as a tear appears, things are often possible that you'd never dreamt of before, never feared, and never hoped for.
Europe is on hold. In London, too, a middle-aged woman is taking time out from her life. She strolls through the streets as if in limbo, and through the shards of her memories.
All the sounds of the awakening city rose unhindered and downright triumphantly into the emptiness.
She meets a mysterious young man. He's handsome but disfigured by a birthmark.
The title, meaning Panic Spring, recalls Pan, the ancient Greek shepherd's god, who has two aspects. On the one hand, he bewitches and seduces people. On the other, he throws the animals into panic.
This switching back and forth between near and far and other contrasts run through the novel. A natural phenomenon provides its rhythm, and the silence afterward, its wonder. Thomas Melle's 3,000 euros. It's a cold, hard look at the present in a big city. A homeless man fallen from the ranks of the middle class, and a woman, a cashier in a discount store. Melle's novel deals with life below the poverty line.
The book is both furious and tender. A basic impetus for my writing comes from rage. Rage at things I experience and rage at conditions in general. But I wouldn't say this is the angriest book I've ever written.
Plenty of rage and tenderness run through Thomas Melle's cool, concise sentences.
Spaghetti, spaghetti, tomato paste, beer and cat food. The never-ending monotony of the products and cash register beeps have long ceased to make her dizzy. But now, the looks do.
This time the language should be very clear. The rhetorical running amok that I produced on occasion had started to bore me. Maybe the subtler metaphors are sometimes more effective.
Melle writes about the outrages of poverty, here and now, where 3,000 euros can be nothing and everything. Two losers. She at least dreams of the future, but he only feels homesick. Homesick for the past. Lutz Seiler's Crusoe. 10% land, 90% sky. That's how Seiler sees this Baltic island.
Hiddensee was always a Shangri-La in the days of East Germany. Actually, almost a legend. Everybody wanted to go to the island at least once in their lives.
The summer of 1989. Ed is a student who's seen tough times and ends up stranded here, working as a tourist season waiter at the Klausner. He meets kindred souls, other outsiders. What they have in common is their yearning for freedom on this island at the very edge of East Germany.
The decision to live on that island was all they needed to know about each other, and that formed an invisible bond. The ones who were here had left the country without crossing the border.
At the Klausner, Ed meets Crusoe, the island guru. Although thousands would leave East Germany for the West that summer, Crusoe preaches something else to his castaways of life, something transcending all borders: inner freedom.
Everyone carries the root within. That's one of the premises, that freedom resides in everyone. But it's very difficult to claim this inheritance.
Lutz Seiler creates a utopia that's doomed. A profound story of shipwreck with rich imagery and language. Heinrich Steinfest, Der Allesforscher. This author has a fear of heights, which is apparently why he forces himself to seek them out, just like his protagonist, Sixten Braun.
My spirit rebelled and left my body. The spirit asked, "What are you doing here anyway? What is this lunacy? Are you a mountain goat?"
There are many extraordinary situations in this magical and remarkable work of literature.
I see the world of the novel as a parallel universe. I'm not the only author to say his character's surprising. I don't know everything about these figures at the outset.
The narrative keeps taking unexpected turns. It's a kind of piñata that bursts over our heads, a treasure trove, a very real dream. In Taiwan, Sixten is struck down by an exploding whale. As a top executive, he'd survived a plane crash and become a lifeguard and a track star. Later, he has a son, who's not really his.
This is my gateway to the world. All the big and little things, the seemingly important, the seemingly unimportant, it all comes together. I always say, I'm not a hunter, I'm a gatherer.
Zany, adventurous, the Allesforscher, the all-round researcher, plays by its own rules. Past and present, aristocracy and precariat. Extraordinary tales of outsiders. This year's lineup of German-language novels covers the range from whimsical to deadly serious. The jury will be announcing the winner on October 6th at the opening of the Frankfurt Book Fair. We'll be on hand when the decision is made public.